with us now. Hello, hello. All right. Well, why don't we just get into the news? There we go. Get right into it. I know what I want to see first up. Watched it in full yet. James O'Keefe. Another installment in insane 8A contract fraud exposure. We're not going to do all that, but I want to check out like a minute. Okay.
So the new contract is basically close to 100 million.
What's the percentage that ATI will retain from that 100 million?
65 for us being the prime,
Got it.
and then 35.
So 65 million.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good deal right there. We posed
Wow.
as headhunters looking to hire someone who could get us government money contracts with the IRS.
And you pay these like Accentures to do the job. And so it's really minimum work. Yes.
Honestly, that's really, in reality, that's what's happening. I'm not talking about other people, but yeah.
It appears as though
Wow.
these companies are just shell companies, just pass-throughs.
It sounds like you're a pass-through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pass-through. Pass-through.
Unless Elon comes in and changes the law. You take out the pass-through, so to speak.
I don't think they have to touch the native, Americans, the native Indians.
They're not going to touch the Native Americans. It's a layer of protection. And most people don't even know your ATI name.
But they make good money.
They make great money. I mean, you fly under the radar and you take 65%. Nobody even knows your name. Nice work. Hey, God bless America. And here's the flying under the radar, right?
Good God, man. I hope he just keeps going on this one for a while. Because this is big money, man. This is huge. Like, what was it? Well over 100 billion a year under Biden. Out of control. So, very good. Very good. Oh, this is the footage of the of Hegseth in the fighter jet. Top Gun.
It's Americans just like you for 250 years that raise their right hand, defend the Constitution, put something greater than themselves at the forefront of their own lives, and we salute you for that.
Did I hear tell that General Brazen Kane was taking the wheel? I don't know if he was in front of the plane here Hegseth was in. But I think I read somewhere that he was one of the pilots. That's not him. But whoa! Did they have him go out? There he is. Okay, that's right. They visited. They visited together, and they flew. So he must have been in one of the other ones. Neato. That's cool. All right. Do I have anything else? I don't. Oh, Harry Sisson just getting smacked. All right.
By the way, I'd be happy to answer the question about whether or not a high-ranking Democrat has used this rhetoric. Who is Kamala Harris?
I know. I want you to answer all the questions. I want you to
I
answer
have
all
a
the
question
questions
for
I
you.
just
Who
gave
is
you.
Kamala Harris?
Wait. Answer all the questions I just gave you. And can you name
No, I'm
me
answering
when
your
Kamala
first
Harris said
question.
that
So your
Donald Trump
first
is
question,
Hitler?
who was-
When
so
did
here
Kamala
it is.
Harris? Great.
Is
When did
Kamala
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 Harris call
Harris
Donald
last
Trump
year a
Hitler?
high-ranking Democrat when she was
When
the
did
party
Kamala
nominee?
Harris call Donald Trump Hitler?
October
Last
of
October.
2024, Kamala Harris said on the campaign trail, Donald Trump vowed to be a dictator on day one. His former chief of staff said he wanted generals like Hitler's. Donald Trump openly admires dictators, including Adolf Hitler. Last October, that was said on the campaign trail from the
So
Democrat
Kamala Harris said this during the campaign, during the closing days of the campaign. It was her final campaign pitch. Is that high enough ranking for you? You guys you supported her for president.
Exactly, because there have been
So the
reports that
person that
Donald
you
Trump
supported
kept...
for president
Wait,
is someone
just relax,
who was
Jack. Take a
campaigning by
breather.
calling Trump Hitler.
Just relax. He's fucking. All right. Anything else worth checking it?
Hopefully they will. And I do think when 7 million people take to the streets as they did last weekend, I know they were all like elderly boomers and everyone's laughing at them, but that's a lot of people. And that suggests a very high level of organization and coordination. That's formidable. That's not a joke at all. And I'm not laughing at that. I think it's totally real. And those people do not share my values at all, like at all. And some of them, not all, probably not most, but some of them are scary. I don't want those people in charge again. I saw what happened last time. So like, think big picture for a second. You know what I mean? Hopefully they will.
100% not wrong about that. Not wrong. Not make the mistake of just brushing these off because they look pathetic. Are pathetic. Not dangerous. Very dangerous. This is the generation that all the same people in many cases that were SDS back in the 60s, Weather Underground, very, very much so, more than willing to engage in domestic terrorism and by any means necessary type tactics to get what they want. It certainly evolved since then, which is what should concern you, like really concern. I mean, look at the Obama ad. Okay? That is the culmination of all of that, and they didn't succeed. They didn't succeed yet, and now they're like on their last legs. They're dying out, starting to anyway, getting old. No offense, I know many of you are part of that generation too, but you know I'm not talking about you. Like you know what I mean, right? They're starting to die out, and they want to chase that high one more time, man. Most people, I think, probably throughout the course of their lives, you end up wanting to. I mean, it's natural. Why wouldn't you return to the glory days? You want to experience the highs that you experienced as a young person again. Accomplish all the dreams that you maybe had back then, but never fully really fulfilled. What should worry you? They know that they're dying soon enough anyway. They got things they want to do. Those things are very, very much not things that I want. Should scare the shit out of you. Right. Director of National Intelligence tells you, this is old. I just tagged that because there's a spat going on between NASA Director Duffy and Elon Musk. He call him gay. Elon called him gay. I don't know if it was in good spirits or not. It could have been. Could have been just jolly good fun. I don't know. Elon does not seem to be taking it too well, to be honest. I really actually does kind of seem a bit offended. Duffy, it seems, is announcing, what is it? Love the passion. The race to the moon is on. Great companies shouldn't be afraid of a challenge. I think he's basically opening up the possibility of contracts for Moon and beyond, not just SpaceX, but Blue Origin and all the other, space industry companies. Which he should. Darn right. Eating a little bit. Right. That might be fly here.
You're building your ballroom right now. They're also
this is just great.
building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've seen. Have you seen pictures of the architecture and
Yeah,
what do you think
I did.
of
It's not too No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. He's building a library / museum. You call it some museum, and usually they call it both. They call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You have I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we used the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggested he get them involved, but they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget, and I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories, but that's the way our country was run under President Obama too. Nobody knew it.
Really disturbing bill. Would you willingly design a building like that? Unless, of course, you're building, I don't know, a high-tech prison or a missile silo, maybe. I don't know, a fancy square-shaped missile. All right. Now let me go to Dipspa, which I know it. Yeah, it must be. Case lately. Okay. Fine by me. Apologies for the Oh, the guy with the Nazi tattoo is gonna remove the Nazi tattoo, right? Heard that today. Graham Plattner, the Democrat, running in Maine. Running in Maine for Senate. Got the Totenkopf skull and crossbones on his chest. Effectively admitted this and said that he got it, like, what did he say? Like, when he drinking or got but that he will have the tattoo removed. Agreed to have it removed. Going to have that thing tapped. Ouch. And that's not pleasant. Okay. Oh, this connect. All right. Sorry. Here we go. Secretary of War on the beaches of California doing PT with some of the.
Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for sacrificing, for serving, for doing really tough things so that other people can live very comfortably. Every day that we work in our office is for you, to make you better at what you do. And it would be the honor of a lifetime if one of my sons or daughters decided to wear a uniform like you. All I can think about this entire time is a heart full of gratitude. This is like Disneyland for me. To be out here on this beach with you guys, the best, my heroes, the heroes of the folks in this country, that's what it's all about. Thank you for everything.
This? Future Ruth says he hasn't I have not seen this. Let me check this out. Ball Club? Oh no. Trail Forest Crew. Okay. Trail Forest Crew tattoo, which began in 1990 by the Appalachian Club. Okay. Accept that. Would he have it covered up? That's where it was, right? Covered up with something. All right. Oh, look at that. Brennan next. Uh-huh. I thought it was going to be Schiff, but I thought it was going to be Schiff then Brennan. I'll take Brennan then Schiff. Fine with that.
About the agency's use of the Steele dossier. That is the largely discredited collection of memos that allege ties between President Trump and Russia. The president has...
All right. We're going to come back to this because Trump is live. Pardon moi. Must divert. Sorry, I'm doing this fight. It happened.
So they continue to
All
come
right,
in by
so
land and a little bit less
I'm gonna
because
go
they
back.
see something is going to happen. They don't like it. They see something, and they're right. Something very serious. A friend of mine, a very good friend.
This started like 10 minutes ago. So going to put it on a little faster playback so we can catch up to real time.
Of mine, we've become friends actually through the trials and tribulations of everything. Mark Rutte, Secretary General of NATO, highly respected.
Quiet.
Every country, almost every country
up the
in
volume.
Europe. I think you can almost take away the almost pretty soon. But they all have great respect for the leader, and he is the leader. And we've had some very good discussions today, and things are going along pretty well as regarding Ukraine, Russia. We thought it would be a little bit easier. That's turned out to be tougher than the Middle East. The Middle East was supposed to be the tough one, and we've solved that puzzle, but this one will get solved also. So I want to just say it's an honor to have you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for hosting again. And we were texting, I think it was on the day when you were in Israel and in Egypt, this tremendous success you had under your leadership, bringing peace to the Middle East. And then we texted each other and said, and the next big thing has to be Ukraine, Russia. And I want to help, NATO wants to help, my colleagues want to help to basically deliver on your vision of peace in Ukraine. And I really want to thank you for everything you're doing, including breaking the deadlock with Putin, starting the dialogue in February when you came in as president in January, but also for everything you did with NATO, the fact that we are now at this 5%, the huge success in The Hague at the NATO summit, the fact that Europeans are also stepping up when it comes to Ukraine, basically the weapons from the US being delivered to Ukraine, paid for by allies, and the Europeans coming together to discuss how can we sustain Ukraine post the peace deal. All of this is evidence of your leadership of pushing the Europeans and the Canadians to do more, to deliver, and to equalize in spending with the US. So on all of this, and today we will talk more on how we can really bring Ukraine to the next phase and get this terrible war, and all the bloodshed ended.
And as you know, we are going to be making a big trip next week. Some of you are going with us. We'll be going to Malaysia, South Korea, and Japan. In South Korea, I'll be meeting with President Xi of China. We'll have a pretty long meeting scheduled. We can work out a lot of our questions and our doubts and our tremendous assets together. So we look forward to that. I think something will work out. We have a very good relationship, but that'll be a big one. We canceled the meeting with President Putin. It didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel like we were going to get to the place we have to get, so I canceled it. But we'll do it in the future. But next week we'll be with many of you in those locations that I told you. Then it's back to Washington. So thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you tell us a little bit about why you're elevating sanctions against Russia right now?
I just felt it was time. We've waited a long time. I thought that we'd go long before the Middle East. And Mark, as you know, we did the Middle East plus 7. So we did 7 different wars from Pakistan and India to so many.
Azerbaijan, Armenia.
Which they said was impossible to do. All these wars I did, and the one that we have left, we have one left. It'll be 9. And we have one left, and I think we'll get that done too. I think we're on our way to getting it done.
We have to.
Mr. President, do you have a timeline for when you think the story is going to be over because of your leadership?
No, I don't have a timeline. You can't have it. In war, it's hard to have a timeline. You know, so many things happen in war. Go ahead.
What about Tomahawk missiles? Putin is definitely
Well, the problem with the Tomahawk that a lot of people don't know, it'll take a minimum of 6 months, usually a year, to learn how to use them. They're highly complex. So the only way a Tomahawk is going to be shot is if we shot it, and we're not going to do that. But there is a tremendous learning curve with the Tomahawk. It's a very powerful weapon, very accurate weapon, and maybe that's what makes it so complex. But it will take a year. It takes a year of intense training to learn how to use it. And we know how to use it, and we're not going to be teaching other people. It's too far out into the future.
Yes, Mr. President, I saw, Mr. President, that you said as recently as yesterday that you still believe that Putin wants to end the war.
Yeah,
Then today
I do.
You took this step to ratchet the sanctions and put more pressure on it. What else are you going to do to encourage him to get there, or can you explain why you do believe that he wants peace?
Yeah, it's a good question. Today is a very big day in terms of what we're doing. And look, these are tremendous sanctions. These are very big. Those are against their two big oil companies, and we hope that they won't be on for long. We hope that the war will be settled. We just answered having to do with the various forms of missiles and everything else that we're looking at, but we don't think that's going to be necessary. We would like to see them just take the line that has been formed over quite a long period of time and go and let's go home. Last week they had almost 8,000 soldiers killed. Many Russians were killed last week. Many Ukrainians were killed last week. We think it's ridiculous, and we'd like to have it end.
Why do you think you want peace, though? Why do you still believe that?
I think they want peace. I think they both want peace at this point. It's been, it's almost 4 years. You're going into 4 years. And if I were president, it never would have started. But yeah, it's time.
Mr. President, on the shutdown, will you do make any dinner crafts before you head to Asia? And if not, why not even?
Well, I think it's a shame that it's shut down because we have the greatest economy, as you were saying before. We have the greatest economy in the world right now, by far, the United States. We have almost 18, now it was 17, now it's $18 trillion being poured into our country, and it's no time for shutdowns. I don't think it's affecting what we're doing, but it's too bad for a lot of people. We have a lot of good people that aren't working right now that should be, and it's because the Democrats want to try and renegotiate a deal that they had negotiated.
None of you probably noticed that, but whatever. See the dark back. Look at it, it's jumping. God, Mac.
They want
freaking Mac's like color sync OS stuff on the back end. I don't know why. I got to figure out why it's flipped.
$1.5 trillion given to illegal immigrants who came into the country, and it's going to hurt the health care of citizens of our country that have been paying into it, that have been working hard for it, that really deserve it. So we're never going to do that. It's not going to happen. And I will tell you, there are a lot of good Democrats that really want to make a deal. And I think all we need is 5 Democrats because we have great support on the Republican side. So I think we need 5 Democrats, and there are a lot of them that want to make a deal. So I think at some point, common sense will prevail. Go ahead, you can finish up.
On the drug boat strike in the Eastern Pacific,
Yeah.
can you explain to us what that was about, how it was conducted?
Yeah, sure. Well, they had one today in the Pacific. And the way I look at it every time I look, because it is violent, and it's amazing that the weaponry, everyone, they have these boats that go 45, 50 miles an hour in the water. And when you look at the accuracy and the power, look, we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world, and you see a little bit of it there. One shot, everyone dead center. And the only way you can't feel bad about it is you realize that you won't feel badly about it, is you realize that every time you see that happen, you're saving 25,000 American lives. Every one of those boats that gets knocked out is saving 25,000 American lives, not to mention the torn up families all over the country. And whenever I see that, I say to myself, I just saved 25,000 lives. I will say that there are very few boats traveling on the water right now. Actually, that includes fishing boats, that includes any other kind of boat. But there are very few boats traveling on the water. So now they'll come in by land to a lesser extent, and they will be hit on land also. Go ahead, in the back, Liz? Yes, we have legal authority. Right? We're allowed to do that. And if we do by land, we may go back to Congress, but we have, this is a national security problem. They killed 300,000 people last year, drugs, these drugs coming in. They killed 300,000 Americans last year, and that gives you legal authority. We have a national security, really, I will say this, when you look at the people we're dealing with, and we know them, we know the people coming in, we know the boats, we know everything else, we're allowed to do it. It's in international waters. If we don't do it, we're going to lose hundreds of thousands of people. Now, they'll be coming in by land a little bit more because they're not coming in by boat anymore. There are no boats in the water. There are no more boats. We know the boat almost immediately. You know, it's pretty unusual when you see somebody with a fishing rod and 5 engines on the back of the boat. You know, you don't need that to go fishing. Wait. And we will hit them very hard when they come in by land. And they haven't experienced that yet, but now we're totally prepared to do that. We'll probably go back to Congress and explain exactly what we're doing when we come to the land. We don't have to do that, but I think, Marco, I'd like to do that. You may respond to that if you want.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question is, bottom line, these are drug boats. So if people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States.
Does it matter if it's in the United States?
Well, these are all in international waters.
Can you do a strike in the United States, or if we're...
Well, that's a different matter. Now you're talking about a law enforcement matter. In this particular case, there are people traveling on international waters headed towards the United States with hostilities in mind, which includes flooding our country with dangerous, deadly drugs. And they're going to be stopped. And that's what's happening. And in the case last week, you saw there was a submarine. It was a submarine. It was a submersible. That's a drug boat all the way through. We know what these boats are. The president just said it. We track them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. If you're running drug boats, you're in great danger.
And drug usage is way down. And drug usage coming from the sea, they call it ocean drugs, a little term that they use, the ocean drugs, is very close to non-existent right now. I wouldn't want to be on one of those boats heading away. You know, they're driving happily to destroy the lives of people, and they end up, that's the end of them. So the ocean drugs and the sea drugs, drugs by sea they call it also, that's almost down to nothing, as you can imagine. So they continue to come in by land and a little bit less because they see something is going to happen. They don't like it. They see something, and they're right. Something very serious is going to happen. The equivalent of what's happening by sea. And we're going to Congress just to tell them what we're doing, just to keep them informed. We have to do it for national security. We have to do it to save lives.
Secretary Bessent said that Vladimir Putin had not been honest and forthright in his talks with you. Just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about your feelings about that. And also, my mate, Munir Rutte, just your thoughts on whether Ukraine should get tomahawks. Thank you.
Well, I think that in terms of honesty, the only thing I can say is every time I speak with Vladimir, I have good conversations, and then they don't go anywhere. They just don't go anywhere. So in that sense, but no, look, he's fighting a war. He's in a war. That's two very competent sides, and that's the way war is. You never know with war, but I would say that it's time to make a deal. A lot of people are dying. You know, they're not Americans, but they're people. They're souls, and they're dying by the thousands. Worst since World War II, and we really should stop it.
And to your other question,
please.
Sorry, to your other question, this has been consistent from this president when we first met again after your re-election in Mar-a-Lago in November. You said we have to stop the killing. This is close to your heart, and this is your vision. That's why this war needs to end. When it comes to tomahawks, whatever system, it's up to individual nations to decide whatever they want to supply to Ukraine. NATO doesn't take a position, but I can assure you this. When the president called me in July and said we want to again send weapons into Ukraine, paid for by our allies, the Canadians and the Europeans, that was an important moment. And that is now taking place, and the ambassador and myself, we're working hard at this. Already a couple of $1 billion of weaponry into Ukraine from the US, paid for by allies. So I'm not going to comment on the tomahawks, but when it comes to the US and all the support for Ukraine, it is there and it is close to the president's heart, and I know this.
I will say this, and you know, Mark can say it better than anybody. The European nations and Canada have really pulled together, and it's beyond even that. I mean, it's really beyond that.
And also Australians and New Zealanders, Japan, they're all.
If you want to really add them up, we could really add them up. But NATO, basically, European and Canada, a lot of other nations, they've really band together. They are not happy about what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. They're not happy at all. Neither am I. Jeff?
Sir, just changing this topic slightly. I see you got the
Yeah.
model of the White House and the ballroom. Many people were surprised the entire East Wing is being demolished because you had said initially that the ballroom would just touch or would not.
Well, certain areas
are
certain areas are being left. We determined that after really a tremendous amount of study with some of the best architects in the world, we determined that really knocking it down, trying to use a little section. You know, the East Wing was not much. There was not much left from the original. It was over the course of 100 years. It was changed, the columns were removed, and it was a much different building. Then a story was added on in 1948, 1949. There was a story added on, which was not particularly nice. And the building was very, very much changed from what it was originally. It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building. And rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that, frankly, they've been after for years, you have that. I brought these along so people could see, but it's, you know, there's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including...
That they're flickering. I think it's not. Shows up like in his dark areas, the shadow area, getting like crushed, like dark. Can't see any detail. Happening for
the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people. And this is a proper kind of a thing. Now, what the White House was doing, as you know, is they were putting tents out on the lawn. This is an interior shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it. And it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine, donors to it. The government's paying absolutely nothing. We're also working with the military on it because they want to make sure everything's perfect. And the military is very much involved in this. They want to make sure everything is absolutely beautiful. You can see the kind of interiors that we're talking about. That's an interior of the ballroom. And it's the highest level. And you see it goes beautifully with the White House. I mean, the mix is beautiful. So over the years, many presidents have made changes. This obviously would be the biggest change, but this was something they've wanted for at least 150 years. Many of you have gone to the events where they had, as an example, President Xi, or they had, you know, a leader of one of the countries, including the king and the queen from your favorite country,
absolutely,
frankly. But where they'd be honored, and they'd be in a tent out on the lawn, and it would rain, and it was a disaster. Brian's shaking his head. You know what I'm talking about. And so I thought I'd bring this out because this is going to be probably the finest ballroom ever built, and we're doing it no cost to the country. It's being put in, the money's being put in by me and donors, very great patriots actually. And the spirit on the building of it is amazing. We are using little sections of footings and various other things, but that's sort of irrelevant. In order to do it properly, we had to take down the existing structure. The way it was shown, it looked like we were touching the White House. We don't touch the White House. That's a bridge, a glass bridge, going from the White House to the ballroom. Then you get into the lobby of the ballroom, and then you go into the magnificent, the main room. And it's something that has gotten incredible reviews.
And I just want a quick follow-up on that question. You're responding to people who say that you haven't been transparent enough about this.
I haven't been transparent?
That some of your critics feel it should be done.
I've shown this to everybody that would listen. Third-rate reporters didn't see it because they didn't look. You're a third-rate reporter, always have been. So third-rate reporters didn't look, but anybody that asked, these pictures have been in newspapers. They've been all over the place, and you know, we're very proud of it. It's gotten great reviews. It's gotten really great reviews. So I think we've been more transparent than anybody's ever been.
Okay.
The sanctions that you're announcing today will push Putin to the...
Well, I don't know that they will. I think that they'll certainly have an impact. They're massive sanctions. It's sanctions on oil. The two biggest oil companies, among the biggest in the world, but they're Russian. They do a lot of oil. And hopefully it'll push... hopefully he'll become reasonable, and hopefully Zelensky will be reasonable too. You know, it takes two to tango, as they say, and we're going to find out. They hate each other. These two people hate each other. You know that better than anybody, and it makes it more difficult than it should be. This should be easier to do, but the level of hatred between Zelensky and Putin is very substantial.
Could I add one thing? What the president is doing today with these sanctions is putting more pressure, of course, on both parts, in this case on Russia. It's all about changing the calculus, making sure that Putin understands that the president's vision this weekend of having a ceasefire, stop where they are, as you literally said, and that this has to be step one now. And for him to really accept that vision and to come to the table. And then you have to put pressure, and this is exactly what he did today.
Along with Europe. I mean, Europe, look, these are they've actually become friends of mine. I think all of them.
Yeah.
We have a very close relationship, and they want to see it end too. They really want to see it end. But I can say they're totally committed. If this went on for 10 more years, Europe is behind them. They just can't let that happen. You can't let what's been going on now. It should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. But it did happen. I inherited. This was Biden, a man who was, without question, you take a look at the new walkway, the presidential walk of fame, we call it. Biden is the worst president we've ever had, if he was even a president. The people that surrounded that desk made those decisions. But this should have never happened. It wouldn't have happened. But it did happen. I inherited it. We're going to get it ended, hopefully soon. Yes, please.
You had a Truth Social post earlier this afternoon talking about a Wall Street Journal report. It's a fake story.
Yeah, fake. Wall Street Journal is fake. Less fake on financial than it is on gossip.
Can you just confirm that my understanding of what's happening is accurate? As I understand that story, you framed it like we had just lifted the U.S. restriction on intelligence.
No, it said that I gave Ukraine permission to shoot missiles deep into Russia. I didn't do that. Second of all, they're not using our missiles. They're using, I think, European missiles or from someplace, but they're not using ours. And what they do, I don't control that. But I do control our missiles. They're not shooting our missiles in. It was a fake story. Wall Street Journal does a lot of fake stories.
Thank you so much. The president of Colombia in a recent interview said that if you won't change, he thinks that people should get rid of you.
We're talking about now Columbia, the country, not the university.
Yes.
Go ahead. He said what?
He said that if you won't change, then perhaps you need to be gotten rid of. Do you view that as a threat?
Well, he's a thug and bad guy. He's a guy that is making a lot of drugs. We've just, as of today, stopped all payments going to Colombia, the country Colombia. Also, the school Colombia. No, we settled. We made a settlement with him. But no, he's a thug, and he's a bad guy, and he's hurt his country very badly. They're doing very poorly, Colombia. They make cocaine. They have cocaine factories. They grow all sorts of crap that's drugs, bad drugs coming into the United States, goes generally through Mexico. And he better watch it. We'll take very serious action against him and his country. His country is, what he has led his country into is a death trap. Please.
As the Secretary General presented his Ukraine peace plan to you, are you prepared to be chairman of the Board of Peace?
Oh, there is no Secretary General peace plan. But I'm here for, I really want to correct it because I saw some of that in the media. Of course, many people are thinking how to bring this terrible war to an end and supporting the President in doing that. Why I'm here is to dialogue again with the President how I can be, how NATO, my colleagues and other colleagues in NATO can be of maximum support to get that done. But there is no peace plan on the table. I mean, if there is a peace plan, it is what the President said last Friday and Sunday, which is stop where you are, stop the fighting.
This is about NATO. We're a very proud member of NATO. We have a great relationship with the countries of NATO. I think made much better by our visit a few months ago when they agreed to 5% instead of 2% of GDP. That was a big concession. I think that was a concession that 2 years ago nobody would have said, even a year ago.
Even 9 months ago, before you were elected.
Yeah, they would have said that's not possible. And the difference is they're paying 5% as opposed to not paying 2%. A lot of them weren't paying, with the exception of Spain. I think you're going to have to talk to Spain because they're not. Spain is not a team player. So other than Spain, everybody's 100%. And you could solve the Spain problem very easily, I think. You know, if you want. Brian, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. And then we'll take Brian. Go ahead.
The soybean farmers, are they going to be getting support from you soon?
Yeah, well, they do. So what's happened, you could say with that, you could say with beef, with all of it. The beef, the ranchers, let's say, who have done a great job, have lost their shirts for many, many years. They've really been decimated. And I helped them a lot. I put tariffs on things coming in to the country, including beef. And that gave them a chance to finally have a decent industry. We are going to be talking to them. They're great people, but they've been hurt for 25, 30 years. They've been losing because other countries have taken advantage of them. And by putting tariffs on, they've been able to make a few dollars. They've been able to have an industry. But I also want to keep the beef prices low. So I'll be talking with the ranchers, and I'll be speaking with a lot of different people, including Scott and Howard, and we'll do something. Because prices are way down in our country. Energy is way down. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline very soon. I see that it's $2.50 in a lot of places, $2.50. We were heading to $5, $6, and $7.
Yes, please.
If Biden didn't go back to my policy toward the end, you would have seen. But he didn't go back to the full policy, and he missed the most important thing. So we were up to, we were way up. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline. We couldn't even break that number. That's a big difference. the only cost that's really up is beef, and the fake news only wants to talk about beef. And what I did is I made it possible for those people to survive. They're incredible people, but they were being decimated by other countries, and I didn't want that to happen. So prices are way down, groceries are down, everything's down, energy's way down, even interest rates with a bad chairman of the Fed. He's terrible. He's a fool.
I mean, if we actually see gas prices drop that much, you'd almost certainly see pricing drop. Personally, I haven't really seen food pricing drop. Largely. I mean, I'm sure there are items that have.
But even interest rates are down. So our country has never done better. We're going to take in, I think, $21 trillion this year. No country has ever taken in more than 3. And we're going to take in $21 trillion of investments because of the tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a mess. We would be a national security problem. And we've done a job. So I'm very happy about that. We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that. So we're very proud of that. Yeah, Brian?
Yesterday in Los Angeles, immigration officials were attacked by some protesters.
Yeah, sure.
To arrest an illegal alien. Gavin Newsom, other Democrats, used very aggressive language in terms of how to address ICE.
Yeah.
Is there any responsibility that we can place on Gavin Newsom and other elected officials for using such aggressive language?
Well, Gavin has to be careful. Remember that when I first came in, they had a terrible riot in Los Angeles. They had the fires, which shouldn't have happened. They didn't have the water for the fires. They should have had the water coming in from the Pacific Northwest. They didn't have the waters. They didn't have water in the hydrants or the sprinklers. So they had the fires, and then they had the riot. And if we didn't go and take care of that riot, you would have lost Los Angeles. You would have canceled the Olympics, which is because of me in Los Angeles. And the police commissioner, the head of the police, said, if the president didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. We did not have the capability of taking care of it. And he said it very strongly. And we did a great job. And within a week, it was all done. Within one day, it was done. But within a week, it was all done. And then they go back to their normal practice of weakness, of not taking care of criminals, meaning taking care of putting them in jails where they should be. Washington, D.C., and you all are the best people for that, because Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities. It was one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Now Washington, D.C., believe it or not, I'm embarrassed to say it in front of you, but Washington, D.C. went from one of the worst, most dangerous cities to, you can walk down the street, you can send your child to meet you at a location. Your child is going to be fine. We have a very, very safe city, one of the safest, and very proud of that. Memphis, by the way, is coming along fantastically. We're in Memphis right now. We had the FBI in Chicago. We're doing things. We haven't served Chicago yet. When we do, Chicago will be very quickly a very, very safe city. But if you look at what's happening in Memphis, it's great. But you got to look at Washington. People are coming up to me. People that work in the White House, they're saying, "Thank you, sir," and I immediately know what they're thanking me about. It's thanking they can walk to work. They would never walk to work a year ago. They can walk into work and they feel safe and secure, and it's beautiful. And I'll tell you what, it's really an honor to add that great ballroom to the structures in Washington. It's going to be one of the great ballrooms of the world, and I think it's going to be something you're all going to be very proud of.
That's coming up with President Xi. What do you hope comes out of that meeting? What deliverables?
I think we'll make a deal. I think we're going to make a deal on the rare earth is the least of it. Look, the tariffs are much more powerful than the rare earth. The rare earth is a disturbance, but there's a lot of rare earth around. I'll tell you, I've had more calls on rare earth. We've got it. Everybody's. We'll make a deal on, I think, everything. I think we're going to make a deal on soybeans and the farmers. I think we're going to make a deal on maybe even nuclear. President Putin in his call mentioned to me about nuclear, where we do a de-escalation, and I'm fine with that. I think it's good. I think it's a very appropriate thing. We have the most nuclear weapons. Russia's second. China is actually third by a long way, but they'll be even within 4 or 5 years. Too many. And we are talking about de-escalation. That's already being talked about. And I think we'll probably add China into the mix.
President Xi to stop purchasing all of that Russian oil that's funding this war against Ukraine.
Well, I think I'll be talking to him about it. I think it's a little bit of a different talk. India, as you know, has told me they are stopping. It's a process. You can't just stop it. But by the end of the year, they'll be down to almost nothing. That's a big thing. That was almost 40% of the oil. India, they've been great. Spoke to Prime Minister Modi yesterday. They've been absolutely great. China's a little bit different. They're a little bit different relationship they have with Russia. It was never good, but because of Biden and Obama, they got forced together. They should never have been forced together, but they're a little bit forced. But they're by nature, they can't be friendly. They can't be friendly. By nature, I hope they are friendly, frankly, but they can't be. You should not have forced Russia and China together. And Biden did that, and Obama did that. They forced them together because of energy, because of oil. And so they are
right about that.
Closer
Big
than
mistake.
they would normally be.
Or was it a mistake?
I think I'll probably be talking about it. What I'll really be talking to him about is how do we end the war with Russia and Ukraine, whether it's through oil
or was it 100% intentional?
Energy or anything else. And I think he's going to be very receptive. He would now like to. I'm not sure that he did at the beginning. He would now like to see that war end.
Do you think she plays an important role, Mr. President? Do you think she plays an important role in terms of inserting himself and convincing who he speaks to regularly to stop the war?
Yeah, I do. I think he can have a big influence on Putin. I think he can have a big influence on a lot of people. Look, he's a respected man. He's a very strong leader of a very big country. Yeah, I think he can have a big influence. And we will certainly be talking about Russia, Ukraine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Liam Koster, Fitzgerald. My question is actually for the Secretary General.
Yes.
Mr. Secretary, I don't know if you've seen this, but polling out of Ukraine shows a massive collapse in Ukrainian support for the war. A Gallup poll had just 23%. That's less than a quarter. Zelensky came out today praising President Trump's proposal for freezing the front lines of battle as part of the ceasefire. He said that's a good compromise. So people view your coming here as, you're lobbying the U.S. government to continue its involvement in the war. You're obviously lobbying for more NATO weapons to be sent to Ukraine, but Ukrainians themselves don't want to fight the war. So how do you justify that morally?
Well, I'm lobbying only for one thing, and that is to make sure that we end this war. And I don't have to lobby the president because we totally agree on this, and this is what he has been doing from day one. Everything he could do to break the deadlock with Putin, get the dialogue going, dialoguing also with Zelensky, and getting this war done. It's crucial. And the fact that the US is now supplying weapons into Ukraine, paid for by allies, is extremely important. And that's now happening since 2-3 months. About 2 billion moving into Ukraine.
The war hasn't wind down. Why do you think that'll wind it down now?
What do you mean?
Do you think more weapons will wind down?
No, I mean, there's more to be done. So what you need, what the president said this weekend, stop where you are, so basically do a ceasefire and then have all your discussions about territory and whatever. But first stop the war. This is what you said on Friday and on Sunday.
It's a war. I mean, your question's really a fair one. It's a war that should have never started. And you know how I feel about it. But it's a war that should have never started. And we're not selling any weapons to Ukraine. We're selling them to NATO, which is different from before with Biden. He just gave $350 billion worth of weapons and cash right into Ukraine, and that was so foolish. But we sell them to NATO, and in theory, you can do what you want with them. It doesn't have to be Ukraine, but probably it is most.
No, what nations are doing now is buying from this program and making sure that the supply is in Ukraine, so Europeans and Canadians. And for example, these are interceptors for the Patriot system. Today, again, a Russian attack has killed children, at least seriously wounded children in kindergarten in Ukraine. So we need to make sure that the air defense systems are in place, and we need the US systems to do that, and the Europeans are paying for that. And this is exactly the type of actions we needed, and the president is doing that, and trying everything to get this war to an end, starting with the ceasefire.
I always felt that way. I always felt he wanted to. When I was in my first term, I was I was very close to him, relatively speaking. It was harder because of the Russia hoax. But I would talk to President Putin about Ukraine, and it was the apple of his eye. I'd say it was the apple of his eye, but it would have never happened. He knew the consequences were too great. When we had a rigged election and all of a sudden I wasn't there, he said, wow. I think he looked at Afghanistan, how horribly that was handled, so stupidly. And I think that really gave him a little additional, incentive. I always felt he wanted the whole thing, not a piece of it. But I think now he's willing to negotiate a little bit further, and I think he's willing to make a deal. We'll see. We'll see. We don't want him. We don't want him to have the whole thing.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have this big terrorist case before the Supreme Court. It's November 5th.
Yeah.
You suggested you might actually show up to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, I'd like to. I think it's one of the most important decisions we'll ever have for the Supreme Court. With tariffs, we're a strong, sound country. We're a nationally secure and internationally secure country. We're a very rich country. Without tariffs, it's a slog for this country, a big slog. I think it's one of the most important decisions in the history of the Supreme Court. And I might go there. I really believe I have an obligation to go there. We are doing so well as a country right now because of tariffs. And you have to understand, tariffs have been used against us for many years, decades, and just slowly but surely hurting our country so badly. That's why we owe $37 trillion. We owe that because other countries have taken advantage of us over many, many decades, And now we're a rich country. We're taking in money like we've never done before. Without tariffs, that would not be happening. And also, I solved, as you know, 8 wars. Of the 8, 5 of them, maybe even 6 of them, are because of tariffs. The threat of tariffs on these nations, if you want to fight, that's okay. India and Pakistan. If you want to fight, that's okay. But you're going to pay tariffs, and they're going to be very substantial. And we're in the midst of a trade deal, and they said, we don't want to do that. 2 days later, they call up, and they're not going to fight anymore. They have peace. But I've done that out of 8, I would say 6 times, 5 times, 6 times. Tariffs are vital to this country. And tariffs have been used against us by China, by every other country, and all we're doing is using them to negotiate fair deals. And as you know, we made a fair deal with Japan, we made a fair deal with all of Europe, the European Union. We made a fair deal with South Korea. These are countries that were taking so much money away from us, not sustainable. And now we're taking in hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars. If this country is not allowed to have tariffs, if this country is not allowed to have the President of the United States negotiate on behalf of it with tariffs, we are put in a position where we're going to be a third world country. We can't let that happen. I think it's the most important case that we're going to have for many, many years to come. One of the most important cases we've ever had. With tariffs, we're a rich, secure country. Without tariffs, we're a laughingstock. We'll be a laughingstock. And I don't want to have anything to do with that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, there we go. That's the end. We were like just getting caught up, I guess. All right. Well, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, I think we're around 90 concurrent viewers. Please hit the thumbs up. And if you're not watching on YouTube, please go to YouTube and hit the thumbs up. And maybe just mute the feed on YouTube and keep watching it. Or just go watch there, for my show. I'm going to keep getting those numbers up there. So far, so good. I got to say, they haven't. I mean, we'll see after we get monetization fully implemented. Speaking of, because I think that might change things, especially when concerns like copyright material. How they treat that with live streams, and it's been 5 years since we were last on, so I don't know what's changed. They were already bad enough as it was back then. Like, they were already using, early stage AI, machine learning type stuff to, scan for copyrighted material. And I don't think they were doing it in live streams at that point, but in actual posted videos or live streams after they converted to a permanent video. They were absolutely going through those with their AI copyright tagging stuff. I can only imagine it's gotten worse since then, or better, maybe, depending on your point of view. So I've been kind of tentatively feeling that out. Let's see. Oh, come on. Tube Studio, that's right. There we go. I bet they still have not. It's still in progress. We'll email you a decision, usually within a month. I think it's been about half that. I think it's been about 2 weeks, so still some time to go. I don't know why it freaking takes so long. It's crazy. All right. Let's see. Sorry, let me pop back so I can see what people are saying here. Weird, it's on the chat. There we go. Good. All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving. We got 1 hour left, and sure we got more news to get through. So let's get back to this bit on Brennan, which we had just barely started when.
About the agency's use of the Steele dossier, that is the largely discredited collection of memos that allege ties between President Trump and Russia. The president has long spoken out against Brennan for his role in the Russia investigation, and the former CIA director's continued criticism of Trump and his administration. Brennan is also reportedly under investigation by the DOJ related to the Russia probe and has denied any wrongdoing. We should note that John Brennan is an MSNBC contributor. Elizabeth Buemiller.
Yes, you should. You absolutely should note that, Mika.
Of potentially Donald Trump's retribution. What do you make of this one?
Well, the names just keep piling up. The people he's gone after. It's now, how many is this? About 4 or 5 he's gone after. And I don't, again, it's unclear exactly if there's any kind of a strong case here, but for Donald Trump, that doesn't matter. He's just said himself completely openly that it may not end up in any kind of a criminal charge or a conviction, but it's just to torture his perceived enemies and to put them through it. It's expensive. It's torturous for the person, and that's what he wants to do. He's going to pay back all of his enemies after what happened to him. And so this.
Oh, so you admit it then?
This is just another notch in his belt, really.
It's extraordinary, David, the extent to which Donald Trump and his allies are still focused
after what happened to him. That's a funny way to put that.
On an election from 9 years ago to clear, he believes, his name in this Russia probe. Are these investigations going anywhere, whether it's John Brennan or James Comey or Letitia James in a separate matter?
Are they going anywhere?
Are these real investigations, or are these just meant to do what Elizabeth says?
They are. Well, they're real investigations, and that again, the president now is the new head of the.
You bet your stupid asses they're going somewhere.
Justice Department wants them to go forward. But I want to say one very specific thing about John Brennan. Yeah. I interviewed John Brennan.
Maybe even to MSNBC. Could even find its way there.
Weeks before the 2016 election, and I asked him about the dossier. I sat in the office of the CIA director in Langley, Virginia. And he, at the time, was off the record. He said, I can talk about this on the record. And I asked, is this true, this allegation? He said, oh, wait a minute. And he said, I'm not commenting on that. And he seemed literally surprised. And he told me to be very careful and to not write about he's like, you're going to hear a lot of crazy allegations against Donald Trump in the last few weeks of the 2016 campaign. Same thing, crazy allegations about Hillary Clinton. Be very careful. Don't write about them. So he told me not to write about the dossier. And that's the truth. That's what he said to me.
Wait, who is it he's referring to? Who is it that told him this?
And so it's extraordinary that now there's this narrative that he was peddling the dossier.
I've been reading a message in chat when that was mentioned, but
dossier before the 2016 election. He wasn't. I worked for Reuters at that point. Many news organizations had the dossier. None of us wrote about it before the election. There was, I think, 1 or 2 small stories about the dossier before the 2016 election. So this history is just all off.
So he thought it was garbage even at the time, the dossier.
Yes. He was just, shocked. So there was like a press guy sitting there, but that is my experience with him just weeks before the 2016 election. We went to Justice Department officials and asked them, were there these meetings between Carter?
It was Brennan. It was Brennan. Brennan is who he's referring to. Brennan told him. At what time that the dossier was basically garbage and not to report on it? When?
Page and officials in the Kremlin, and they refused. That was earlier in the summer of 2016. They refused to comment. So again, Reuters, much of the mainstream media didn't report about the dossier before the 2016 election. So this whole narrative, I feel, is largely off.
Okay, I've got to hear that story from this guy again. Who was he talking about there? And when? At what point in the timeline here? What time frame?
Investigations, or are these just meant to do what Elizabeth says?
They are, well, they're real investigations in that, again, the president now, as the new head of the Justice Department, wants them to go forward. But I want to say one very specific thing about John Brennan.
Yeah.
I interviewed John Brennan weeks before the 2016 election. And
Okay, weeks before the 2016 election.
Asked him about the dossier.
Asked him about the dossier.
Sat in the office of the CIA director in Langley, Virginia, and he at the time was off the record. He said, "I can talk about this on the record."
And hold on. Where was this?
The 2016 election, and I asked him about the dossier. I sat in the office of the CIA director in Langley, Virginia, and he at the time was off the record. He said, "I can talk about this on the record." And I asked, "Is this true, this allegation?" He said, "Oh, wait a minute," and he said, "I'm not commenting on that." And he seemed literally surprised. And he told me to be very careful and to not write about any, he's like, "You're going to hear a lot of crazy allegations against Donald Trump in the last few weeks of the 2016 campaign. Same thing, crazy allegations about Hillary Clinton. Be very careful, don't write about them."
What a weird detail.
So he told me not to write about the dossier. And that's the truth. That's what he said to me. And so it's extraordinary that now there's this narrative that he was peddling the dossier before the 2016 election. He wasn't. I worked for Reuters at that point. Many news organizations had the dossier. None of us wrote about it before the election. There was, I think, one or two small stories about the dossier before the 2016 election. So this history is just all off.
So he thought it was garbage even at the time, the dossier.
Yes. He was just, shocked. So there was like a press guy sitting there and
interesting.
But that is my experience with him.
Interesting. Huh.
Right, just weeks before the 2016 election. We went to Justice Department officials and asked them, were there these meetings between Carter Page and officials in the Kremlin? And they...
Was it... I don't even know what to make of that. Curious to hear the backstory there. Not that we'll ever know. He trying to just stop the guy from writing about it by scaring him, like, "Hey, don't, you better be careful, don't what you say about that, don't write about that." Some kind of personal affection for the guy, like didn't want him to maybe get in trouble down the line for writing about it. I doubt that can't be it. Like right before the election. I'm curious if he offered any public comment on it at that time or shortly thereafter. Let's see what we can find here. Did John Brennan ever offer any comment or opinion on the deal? Specifically, the frame of what are we going to say? I want to give some space, like after he exited the admin, we'll just say through 2018. Still relatively early when they were still, like, there was still an effort to like really peddle this thing, but before they backed off. Let's see what we get. I mean, I'm sure he must have. did offer public comments and opinions on the Steele dossier, most notably his public testimony before Congress. Yeah, that's key stuff right there. Let me go review that a little bit. During this testimony, Brennan stated the Steele dossier was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community's January 2017 assessment of Russian election interference. He was not involved in analyzing the dossier at all. And he stated that the CIA was not involved at all with the dossier. CIA. The CIA, CYA, right here. Covering their asses. Directing questions on the matter to the FBI. Who, of course, probably directed questions on the matter to the CIA. He was aware of the dossier and that the FBI had asked for an annex related to it to be included in shit nuggets. Pardon me. Just dropped something. Included with the intelligence community assessment that was provided to policymakers. Brennan's 2017 testimony on this matter was later cited as a reason for the revocation of his security clearance in August of 2018. White House statement announcing the revocation claimed that Brennan's assertion that the intelligence community did not make use of the dossier was, contradicted by all of the facts. So I suppose this could be Brennan just seeing that this was now spilling out into the public sphere, the existence of the Steele dossier, and the fact that it was apparently used for quite a bit, shaping quite a bit of their strategy and their direction. And he, in the moment, trying to maybe play it down to this guy, play down the importance of it. I want to listen to what he claims Brennan said one more time. And then maybe we'll go check out some of his testimony, 2017.
James, in a separate matter, are these...
And the president now, as the new head of the Justice Department, wants them to go forward. But I want to say one very specific thing about John Brennan. I interviewed John Brennan weeks before the 2016 election, and I asked him about the dossier. I sat in the office of the CIA director in Langley, Virginia.
And who is... This is MSNBC senior national security reporter.
In Langley, Virginia. And he, at the time, was off the record. He said, I can talk about this on the record. And I asked, is this true, this allegation, that allegation? He said, oh, wait a minute, and he said, I'm not commenting on that. And he seemed literally surprised. And he told me...
Interesting.
To be very careful and to...
This must have been right as this was tumbling onto the, out into the space.
Not right about any, he's like, you're going to hear a lot of crazy allegations against Donald Trump in the last few weeks of the 2016 campaign. Same thing, crazy allegations about Hillary Clinton.
That's a really interesting statement there.
Be very careful, don't write about them. So he told me not to write about the dossier. And that's the truth. That's what he said to me. And so it's extraordinary that now there's this narrative that he was peddling the dossier. Before the 2016 election, he wasn't. I worked for Reuters at that point. Many news organizations had the dossier. None of us wrote about it before the election. There was, I think, one or two small stories about the dossier before the 2016 election. So this history is just all off.
So he thought it was garbage even at the time, the dossier.
Yes. No, he told you that he didn't even say that, really.
He was just, shocked. So there was like a press guy sitting there.
I mean, they're putting words into his mouth. He didn't say that.
And
no, that's not what he said that Brennan's told him.
But that's is why I
said he was surprised and then taken aback and said, you're going to hear a lot of crazy things. Don't report on them, including the Steele dossier.
That is my experience with him just weeks before the 2016 election. We went to Justice Department officials and asked them, were there these meetings between Carter Page and officials in the Kremlin? And they refused. That was earlier in the summer of 2016. They refused to comment.
Oh. Yes. Okay, well, let's see. I mean, that's an interesting reaction for someone just to immediately, upon hearing about this for the first time, being surprised by it, to just immediately, well, A, know what he was talking about, and then B, just immediately take the position that it was not used. All right, where were we up next here? Lost our spot. Oh boy, I don't know how we're gonna get through all this, but we're gonna try. We'll do our best. Here we go. Democrats spent it. Oh, pardon. Speaking of, update on that I saw in chat. Breaking: Senate Democrats have just blocked for the 12th time President Trump and the Republicans' clean funding bill to reopen the government. So there we go, yet again. Not that that's much of a surprise. This is from early this morning, 2 a.m. Democrats spent the night reading poetry on the Senate floor. Capitol Police are being forced to listen to this nonsense while not getting paid.
So 2 a.m. here, leaving the Capitol. We're listening to floor speeches from Democrats who have closed the government, and they're forcing Capitol Hill staff to sit in here all night and listen to them read poetry while they're not getting paid. So not only are they now closing the government, but now they're forcing our Capitol Hill workers, our police who keep us safe, all of the pages on the floor, to stay up all night listening to them read poetry because they think it's funny, because they want to make a statement. So not only are they not paying the government, now as the government closed, they are forcing all these good people in this building to stay up all night and listen to them read poetry. That's how ridiculous this shutdown has become. That's how ridiculous the stupid Schumer shutdown is. This is ridiculous. Let's get back to work. Open the government.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I was like scrolling through comments I missed on YouTube. Murata in YouTube chat mentions Brennan was working with Senator Reid. That's right. That's right. Case her investigation needs to go through Congress before it hits the media. Or at least that's what they would have wanted, yeah. Especially in this case. Had to go to Congress first, then the media. Brennan didn't want it known before it was investigated. Yeah. Oh. So much of that just feels like ancient history now. But it's really not. It's very, very relevant. Quite a while ago. Almost coming up on a decade very soon. Okay, Speaker Johnson goes off on Democrats for doing nothing. I don't think we need to watch it. We know that they're not doing anything, and we've seen him bitch about it before. It's just been exposed that Democrats shut down the government because they want funds going to Zimbabwe and Iraq Sesame Street. Oh, yeah, funding all their stupid nonsense programs that they line their pockets with. Democrats openly admitting they're weaponizing this shutdown. Who's this? That's Whip. Catherine Clark.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, you know, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have. I mean, shutdowns are terrible.
Not that you care. Trump today. Mary Barra of General Motors and Bill Ford of Ford Motor Company just called to thank me for putting tariffs on mid-size and large-size trucks on ports. Their stock has gone through the roof. They told me that without tariffs, it would be a very hard, long slog for truck and car manufacturers in the United States. I told them it's very simple. This is a national security matter. With the tariffs, we have a strong and powerful economy and country. Without them, we have the exact opposite.
It's over on the east side across the lawn.
The walls are coming down, and we have some video of this yesterday. Parts of the East Wing have now been demolished to be modernized and to make room for a new privately funded ballroom.
The ballroom.
A sampling of the Democratic reaction reads like this.
It's pretty much what it reads like. Democrats are planning to launch a master ice tracker on their website.
I shared this with the mayor. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, the Oversight Committee will be launching on their website a master ice tracker where we're going to be essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify that the community will be able to send us information on. I shared.
So they're moving the Ice Block app to their website. Okay. Ice tracking apps, meanwhile, Homeland Security saying this, ice tracking apps and websites directly put the lives of ICE law enforcement and their families in danger. Less than a month after, a deranged gunman who used an ice tracking app to plan his attack opened fire at the Dallas ICE facility, California politicians are pushing to publicize information that would further jeopardize officer safety. Of course, what they want. Anyone who actively obstructs law enforcement in the performance of their sworn duties or assaults law enforcement, including U.S. citizens, will face consequences. Could be severe consequences in some of these cases. Very severe. Cuba captures Chinese fentanyl kingpin wanted by the U.S. What? They gonna like hand him over or? Okay, he'd escaped custody from Mexico in July. He's also wanted by the U.S. Trafficker Zhu Dongjiang, known by the alias Brother Wang. Okay, Senator Tom Cotton exposed. Democrat political games. Why not? It's quick.
Well, we're happy to debate them. But to give you just one more example of the contrast here between what we're trying to do to serve the American people and the Democrats' vanity and selfishness, President Trump just announced that we're going to reopen the core operations at the Farm Service Agency that helps farmers all across the state of Arkansas process loans or work on other farm programs. What are the Democrats up to during the shutdown? Just down the hallway, they're in like the 17th or the 18th straight hour of prattling on the Senate floor. That has required all the Capitol police officers, all the Capitol support staff who are not being paid to stay here overnight. They're putting their own vanity and their own political gain over the very people that protect them and over the American people who depend on the federal government for vital services like law enforcement, like national defense. They need to come to their senses now.
All right. So
we're happy.
Okay, let me pop back to YouTube chat here. I see a few more from Murata on Brennan. History. According to a report from the New York Times, Brennan was sent to Capitol Hill around the same time, so like just before the election, 2016, to brief members of Congress on the possibility of election interference. Yeah, I do remember that. August 25th, 2016. Brennan went to Capitol Hill to brief Harry Reid. There it is. 2 days afterwards, I assume. I think Reid penned a letter to James Comey requesting an investigation into potential collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Yep. Okay. Trump on cattle ranchers. Cattle ranchers who I love don't understand that the only reason they're doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. It'd be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. That would be nice. I'd like to have Portable beef, please. I like beef. I like to eat a lot of beef. I'd like the beef to not eat my wallet in the process. Chaos in Chinatown as protesters surround ICE agents during a sweep on alleged counterfeit vendors. Oh, this is New York City.
As protesters confront ICE agents on Canal Street in Chinatown.
More on Canal Street.
Agents were conducting sweeps on vendors who were allegedly selling
from yesterday.
goods when protesters surrounded those agents. An official from
Insanity.
the New York Immigration Coalition
Saw that bit with O'Keefe. Very nice. Good. He's covering that. Ad program on the second longest government shutdown in history.
This is
well on its way to first.
Staring contest of the highest order. Neither side is willing to budge to reopen the government. Democrats insist the only way to unlock the shutdown is to have bipartisan talks about health care with the president.
Donald Trump, instead of leaving the country or before he leaves the country, should sit down and negotiate with us so we can address this horrible crisis. He should not be going away before he negotiates. The American people are in crisis.
Democrats are sticking to their demand for money to defray the cost of Obamacare. Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries say the president was interested in the issue when they met in September. But President Trump is unwilling to talk right now.
I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them, but I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open. The people want to go back to
They won't.
work, so I'll do it as soon as they open up the country. I'd like to meet.
They won't do it. 9 illegal aliens arrested at Canal Street who have a violent rap sheet, including robbery, burglary, domestic violence, assaulting law enforcement, counterfeiting, drug trafficking, drug possession, and forgery.
Barack Obama is coming out for Mikey Sherrill. That'll be the final weekend of the campaign on November the 1st. She's clearly bringing out the big guns. What do you make of that?
What it tells me is that they're struggling here in New Jersey. I've been here today with Jack. This is the third stop today. I got to tell you, the energy is off the charts everywhere that we've been. And so she's got to bring in the former president. What that means is she's in trouble. But she's going to find out, just like Kamala Harris found out, that if you bring them in, it doesn't matter. You're still going to lose because she doesn't have the solutions that the people of New Jersey need.
Barack Obama is coming out.
Of course he is. Coming out of, what, the closet? Democrats are panicking about the black vote in New Jersey. Maybe starting to. That they're too worried about, at least not in New Jersey. But, although we'll see.
Is the Garden State, right? Yeah. What's growing in New Jersey? I don't see anything growing.
I'm gonna go with Jack.
You're gonna go with Jack?
Yeah, because from what I've seen her in her commercial,
Mikey Sherrill.
She's not answering. She's avoiding real serious questions. I'm leaning on her. Just like her opinions.
All right, so some people there like Mikey Sherrill, a lot of people like you, Jack, but when you take a look at the polls, some of them now are within the margin of error, but if we go back to 2021...
Now do black women. See where black women are.
The polls seem to
Probably not such a pretty picture.
count your support by about 6 points. But what can you do in the next 2 weeks to bring this one across the line?
What we've been doing every day since the day after the primary, getting up and down the state, telling people very specifically how we're going to fix the state of New Jersey. It needs fixing. We've got an affordability crisis, a public education crisis, public safety crisis, overdevelopment in our suburban communities. And my opponent's entire campaign has been based on a stack of lies, her disdain for the president. She could fly a helicopter. That's not going to fix New Jersey. And when the Republican nominee is being endorsed by Democratic mayors up and down the state, that tells you how badly people want change.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. What do you think that's going to do come November the 4th in terms of flipping some Democratic support to you?
Hey, listen, Republicans are all in, unaffiliated independent voters are all in, and even moderate Democrats are all in because it's been 8 years of failed policies.
Pelosi to announce plans after California election. Or what plans would those be? God. Oh, will she retire? Those. She'll say in a few weeks. Seriously? California Democrat State Senator Scott Wiener, Pedo Scott. Yeah, that guy, Pedo Scott Wiener, who previously authored a bill to reduce certain sex offender registry requirements and just straight up looks like a pedo, is officially running against Nancy Pelosi for Congress. Don't make me support her. Don't make me support Nancy Pelosi.
My family escaped fascism in Europe. I never thought the United States would slip into fascism like we're seeing today. San Francisco.
He looks like a kid hunter.
Francisco has
looks like a kid hunter.
Always been on the right side of history, standing up for democracy and civil rights even when it's hard. I'm Scott Wiener. I'm running for Congress to defend San Francisco.
And touch children.
Our values.
Wait.
Our people. And the Constitution of the United States with everything I have.
God, he even puts the flag in his little symbol. And in Chinese, too. My goodness.
I've stood up to violence and hate my entire life. Trump and his MAGA extremists don't scare me.
He even put people calling him a pedo in the commercial.
They won't stop me or the people of our great city.
That's just too great.
From fighting back and doing what's right. In Congress, I'll continue holding insurance companies accountable so families get the medical care they need. Protect LGBTQ kids and families.
So you can diddle them?
I wrote and passed California's law banning ICE from wearing ski masks like secret police. And I'll continue my fight for more housing so we have an affordable, inclusive, innovative city. We can't expect anything less from San Francisco's member of Congress. Join me.
Oh wow, there he is in a kitty diddler parade.
Congress. Join me now before everything we believe in is lost for good.
Oh my goodness gracious. Scott Wiener, diddler for Congress. Democrat for Congress. Let's see. Anyone post some... Oh no. Hoping someone would post some of Scott Wiener's past tweets. Disgusting. He's clearly... Well, you know. Just look at him. Just look at him. Jasmine Crockett strongly considering U.S. Senate bid. Oh, dear Lord. God help us. Yesterday, at the direction of President Trump, the Department of War conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel being operated by a designated terrorist organization and conducting narco-trafficking in the East. Look at this thing. Oof. That's a boo-boo. Bye-bye then. Okay, DHS heading back against these stories about the airplanes bought by the department for use by the director and others. Homeland Security says here on X, the luxury jet's lies are insane. The government planes purchased will replace aircraft that were, as much as 20 years old and experiencing significant maintenance issues. Yep. I mean, jets like that, especially ones that get used a lot, when they start to get older, I mean, 20 isn't so bad, I don't think. I'm no like real super airplane nerd, but when I know 20 ain't so bad. But when it gets up to like 30, 40 years old, especially, it's like start having trouble sourcing parts. Finding people that work on them for reasonable prices. Engines just disappear from the market. They're not available anymore. Have to like retrofit modern engines into them sometimes in order to just make it viable. Stupid. These are expendable items. I mean, I know it's odd to talk about them like that, but for the scale of governments, yeah, they're expendable items. They get used up, and eventually have to be replaced. Matter of fact. Now, if you want to argue, like maybe they could have gone with a less expensive aircraft, maybe a turboprop, rather than a, I don't know, Gulfstreams. I assume they're Gulfstreams. Okay, maybe. Yes, Gulfstreams. But I don't know. I mean, when it comes to national security, I think you'd probably want the capability of a jet when you're talking about the Director of Homeland Security and others like them. They need to travel. Sometimes on short notice and sometimes very great distances, and that can only be done by something like a Gulfstream. So I guess they spent roughly 170 million on these two jets, using to buy jets for luxury of travel. This is what Blumenthal is saying. DNI Tulsi Gabbard, U.S. counterterrorism resources helped capture Sinaloa cartel plaza boss El Pato. Oh, Cory Booker's having a melty on the floor of Congress again. Oh, great.
When we took the extrajudicial step to blow up speedboats, there has been no oversight into that claimed attack on people that were
on the drug traffickers,
allegedly smuggling drugs. We are constantly not doing our job, which is not a partisan one. It is to hold this president in check, that no one operates without accountability and without transparency, because power is corrupting. And when you let someone do what they want to do, when they want to do it, without a check or a balance, it is corrupting. And we know when we took the...
we should. Why don't we just let them smuggle what are effectively chemical weapons into the country and deploy them on our population? I mean, what's the harm? Nine illegals arrested on Canal Street weren't street vendors, but were actually criminals with rap sheets. Okay.
City officials slamming this ICE raid in Chinatown.
There is no excuse for sending military...
Oh, God, they're like spurging over this, over the arrest of the street vendors.
...style vehicles and a national law enforcement response for street vendors.
This wasn't about public safety. This was about targeting communities. None of this is about public safety. It is about fear and chaos.
We wholeheartedly reject the violence that ICE is bringing to our city. Subjecting street vendors to this kind of violence is deplorable.
So, sir, let me ask you this. This has been a problem for a long time. Now, is it that you have the resources or the means, or did you have intelligence that said, okay, well, these guys, we know that some of them were here illegally?
Yeah, Dana, thanks for having me. Yeah, so it's a bit of both, right? Obviously, we have to build...
CBS on, is this on the Ballroom?
And there's always been this growing fascination about the White House and the details inside, from the furniture to who dined there. And this new ballroom, to put this into perspective, is almost twice the size of the entire White House. When you heard about the plans for this new addition in the East Wing, what did you think?
I will be honest, I wasn't that surprised. I felt like, okay, it's finally happening. And the size is interesting. I mean, the White House is truly on a human scale, which I love. It really reflects America and how we, our leaders live. The White House is the only home really that acts as a home, an office, and a museum that's open for tours, but it is on a human scale. So when you think about Buckingham Palace or Versailles, they're so much larger. But I do think it's something that many administrations have been talking about. I know for sure that the Clinton administration had really recommended to the Bush administration that they consider putting some sort of permanent pavilion up, because they really learned to have the numbers of people that they wanted to entertain. They were constantly having to do tents on the lawn. And so I do think that's been something that has been talked about for a long time.
We're coming up on the 250.
Hakeem still whining about, oh my God, the AI videos.
Crisis.
Throw a pair, dude.
His
sense of humor.
Behavior, unpresidential, unhinged,
Hilarious.
unpatriotic, un-American, throughout this process, speaks for itself and makes clear that Republicans shut the government down and have had zero interest in opening it up. Why? Because they'd rather inflict this kind of pain on hardworking federal civil servants and the American people than provide health care that's affordable to everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class.
You guys have done such a great job with that. Robbie Starbucks suing Google. Yeah. Berlin offers to pay U.S. military employees in Germany until shutdown ends. Interesting. School teacher at an anti-ICE protest warns federal agents that they're not the only ones with guns.
Don't forget where you're standing. This is South Central Los Angeles. They are not the only ones with guns in this city. They're not the only ones, and don't forget that. And I don't say
Wait, you want to continue that thought?
that because we're calling for violence. I'm saying that because the people have every right to defend themselves against masked, unidentified
Oh, you want to go ahead and try that? We'll see how it works out.
gunmen with AR-15s and other military rifles. The people have every right to defend themselves. Don't forget where you're.
But we don't have a right to defend ourselves from you invading our country. No? Guess not. Walmart pauses hiring H-1B visa recipients. That's right. That is a big deal. A change in the weather right there. Mother of baby abandoned at Penn Station. Found and arrested in Queens. What? Oh, they caught her doing it on video?
Baby girl inside the 34th Street subway station Monday morning is set to be formally charged in the coming hours. The 30-year-old suspect was arrested early this morning in Queens. Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson is live in Lower Manhattan ahead of that court appearance. Kim.
Well, Liz Asadiawara is expected to face a judge here tonight. I did speak with some of her neighbors who find it hard to believe the woman that they would see every now and then would do what authorities say she did. One neighbor tells me she wishes the young mother had reached out for help. New exclusive video shows police closing in on Asa Diawara, ringing her doorbell just a few hours before the 30-year-old was taken into custody.
Thank goodness that baby was found well and alive. But, you know, and it's also heartbreaking to know that person, the individual responsible, is right here, few houses away from me.
Officers also...
Yeah. Party's over. Oh. John Fetterman took to social media to express his feelings on the government shutdown, saying he chooses America over the Democrat Party. Country over party, he says. Now we get into all of the SNAP recipients. Oh boy, is this gonna be whack. This could get so hairy, man.
Woke up, got an email from EBT.
It's free. Swap your EBT. It's free. Swap your EBT. Oh wait, not anymore.
$40 a month for my 2 kids. And we not getting EBT no more. They took the EBT. They saying I gotta work 20 hours a week. I'm not working for
No, they did. They said that.
Nobody. Get the fuck out of here. This is what Americans, taxpayer, work for us. They work for me. They gotta help me feed my fucking kids. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is just rage bait, man. This is just crazy.
Don't be quitters now. Y'all been helping us all this fucking time. Now y'all want to tap out. Get the fuck out of here. I want my EBT, yo. I want my EBT, and I'm not working for nobody. I'm a fucking boss. What the fuck I look like working when the government is here to help? Come on, y'all send all that money to Iraq, Ukraine. Y'all funding all these wars, but when it's time to help the Americans,
why would we help you?
y'all don't want to fucking help us. I need my fucking EBT, yo. I need my money, yo.
Like this can't be real. It's rage bait, right?
I need
just trying to get like comments on TikTok.
I need my fucking EBT. Stop fucking playing with me, yo.
Oh my goodness. There's more.
Let me tell you something. If you think that you about to come up in here and steal from the Wally world, because you ain't getting no
Walmart
food
employee talking to all these people who are saying they're gonna come steal.
stamps, I'm gonna call the police on you. I'm gonna call. They're on speed dial. I'm gonna call them expeditiously. I don't care. I don't.
Good. You girl.
So as quiet as it's kept, and I know y'all won't admit this because I know how y'all are, but y'all aren't really outraged that the food stamps EBT shit is about to get shut down. Y'all are really outraged because now
the EBT shit is about to get shut down. That's right.
you're gonna have to take the money you normally buy weed with.
No, you're gonna have to divert your drug money to feeding your children. Oh, literal riot material right there.
Get your nails done.
Probably go loot some shit.
Y'all gonna have to take those funds and buy food now. And don't say I'm lying, because when y'all were receiving food stamps, you were selling the food stamps. So you weren't worried about feeding your children then. But all of a sudden now, you're outraged. Oh my God, like, why we gonna feed our kids the same way you've been feeding them? Sleeping with that man. Get a few funds from him. Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't been worried about them kids and their well-being, but all of a sudden now, you are. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen some crazy ones today of people whining about it.
All I know is if I don't receive my benefits this month,
Here we go.
food stamps, I feel bad for the motherfucking ShopRite. I will just be rolling my cart out that bitch like.
Not bad enough though, right? Because you're still gonna do it.
I paid for it, but I guess the card just didn't work this month. It'll work next month. I owe y'all now, I guess, cause I'm gonna be eating Thanksgiving. Fuck you talking about? I'm eating for Thanksgiving. I don't know what the fuck they talking about, and I'm having turkey, ham.
Yeah, I'm sure you can get that shit at the food bank, man.
All the good shit. Fuck.
They're great at Thanksgiving. Go to the food bank.
Fuck that shit.
You don't have to steal. You don't have to be a loser.
Everybody going around saying that motherfuckers ain't getting masked and beat people down that shit, bitch. I'm gonna flip the cart.
Mashed potatoes, greens. Transgender says to wait until the police are off duty, then find their homes, post their addresses, and kill them.
Hey, this is just a friendly reminder that when cops are off duty, they don't wear body armor and they sleep in homes with findable and publishable addresses. Hey.
Yeah. People gots to go, man. He gots to go. U.S. Treasury buys back a whopping $1.9 billion of its own debt. Good. That up. Senator Rand Paul says the J-6 pipe bomber could be easily tracked and identified through their cell phone. Oh, wait, didn't they say that that data was corrupted or whatever?
The only phone that it seems like they couldn't spy on was the January 6th pipe bomber. Have you ever found that strange?
We never heard any more about it. You would think in our era, with all the cameras out there, somebody would have seen him, or I guess they did have some pictures of him.
He was on the phone, Senator. He was sitting there on the phone right next to the Capitol.
You would think if he's on the phone and with a warrant, you could find out geolocation probably of who was standing in that position. There probably were 4 or 5 phones. I mean, how hard would it be to find the person who was on that phone? I would think you would be able to do that with geolocation data, with a warrant, of course. But nothing ever happened to that. So I don't know.
Nothing ever happens. Yes, that's right. Nothing ever happens. The only phone that
Oh my God, did they really just do the meme? It just did the nothing ever happens meme. Nothing ever happens until it does.
And a PSA to them retail workers during this hard time of what the fuck is going on in the world. I really don't advise y'all to try to chase after anybody that's trying to collect them some food for their family as they're walking out that door with that cart, because you might fuck around and don't make it home. What's going on in this world, I really think it's y'all best bet to let them people walk about that store with that shit and you mind your business. Because I promise you, when y'all get in my face, I'm going to flu-flox y'all ass. I swear for Jesus.
You're going to go what?
Flu-flox y'all ass. I'm going to flu-flox y'all.
Or you could get a job.
This is an Apple AirTag. What I've been doing is trying to get these on their vehicles so that way I can track where they're at and let people know before they get there.
Wow.
By the time we see a video on the internet,
they're air tagging federal vehicles to spy on them.
It's already too late. We got to start early. We got to send up signals, start notifying people so that nobody gets taken. So again, right now, I'm not trying to engage with them. On a side note, most of them are lazy, untrained, just freaking weirdos. But away from that, I'm not trying to fight them or engage with them. I'm trying to track them. And at least maybe if they find these on their cars, it'll scare the heck out of them and let them know that people are watching. So yeah, man, I'm headed back through Santa Ana, back through the Home Depots, man. Let's go. Let's get it, baby. United we stand.
According to a brand new poll conducted by Quinnipiac, the congressional Democrats have dropped to 26% approval. Oh. Okay, let's see. So among Democrats specifically, 58% approve of the way Democrats in Congress are handling their job. 36% disapprove. Among independents, it's 19% approve, 71% disapprove. Among men, it's 23% approve, 71% disapprove. Among women, 29% approve, 64% disapprove. Come on, women. Total, 26% approve, 67% disapprove. Oh, here's this wackadoo. Rep. LaMonica McIver says that she has sleepless nights because of the possibility of spending 17 years behind bars for assaulting federal officers.
Again, we're watching what they say, what they are charging, and what they say you could face 17 years in prison for if we go forward and to be convicted. Is there any part of your brain that's scared of that, or are you 100% convinced that if you get an opportunity in court with a jury of your peers that you will be acquitted?
Well, one, I'm 100%, I believe 100% the facts
she's guilty.
on my side. That's number one. I have faith in my legal team, faith in the judiciary system.
Faith in the, I'm sorry, could you say that one more time for me?
One, I have faith in my legal team, faith in the judiciary system, faith in the judiciary system.
Faith in the judiciary
system. However, it is very stressful, Chris. I am a mom, I'm a wife, I have family, and I have never been in trouble with the law ever. And so to hear, this prosecution saying that I can get 17 years in jail for showing up to do my job, for protecting the people
that was not doing your job,
that I represent, who have elected me to protect them, it is definitely stressful. Some nights are sleepless for me. I'm thinking about it, but it's just what we're dealing with this administration, and it's going to continue to happen. We are in a democracy.
Well, you bet it is. Wall Street Journal, Trump says, Wall Street Journal story on the USA's approval of Ukraine being allowed to use long-range missiles deep into Russia is fake news. The U.S. has nothing to do with those missiles, wherever they may come from, or what Ukraine does with them. Just informed Governor Mike Dunleavy that based on his request, I'm approving $25 million to help Alaska recover from the major typhoon they experienced earlier this month. My honor to deliver for the great state of Alaska, which I won big in 2016, 2020, and 2024. Was granted $260,000 to the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe for public assistance. No idea. These incredible people are tough, smart, and will build their community stronger than ever before. Okay. Finished speaking with Governor Jim Pillen of Nebraska. Told him that I have approved $50 million for the recovery efforts from the major storms they experienced. Same for Missouri, $2.5 million. Oh, no, Minority Whip Clark again.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just posted a clip of an interview that you did on Fox last week. You were answering a question from Fox's Chad Pergram about blame for the shutdown. I want to look at the post here.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
Leavitt is looking especially at that last bit you said there, saying the Democrats, quote, are now admitting that they are intentionally causing American families to suffer with their reckless government shutdown. What's your response to that?
Well, that is right out of her playbook of half-truths, taking things out of context, and not being straight with the American people. And she knows what I said.
White House Press Secretary.
Coca-Cola starts selling cane sugar soda again in the USA after Trump demand. I mean, they never really stopped. They just stopped doing it here. I don't know why. Because it's the best. It's just so much better than the crap they sell to us. Or used to sell. Have they switched over completely now to real cane sugar? Lovely. Beautiful. Yes. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent took an enormous victory lap. Why not?
Very contrary to what everyone said, we had for the fiscal year last year, we had a lower deficit than we did the previous fiscal year. And it's as Warren Buffett says, when people ask him, how do you lose weight? You eat less, exercise more. How do you control the budget deficit? You spend less or control spending and grow more. And you're Mr. Growth. So if we can keep the spending flat to down and grow at least a nominal 5%, maybe higher, then our deficit to GDP, it ended the fiscal year with a 5 in front of it, down from the 6.4, 6.5, which was the worst when we weren't in a recession, weren't at war. And I think we could make substantial progress again. And I would hope we could be in the low 5s or something with a 4 in it for next year.
Yeah. Well, promises made.
Very
good. Oh God! Shock video moment: truck driver slammed into traffic on the 10 freeway in California. Driver, a 21-year-old male, was arrested for driving under the influence. Driving a semi.
Exclusive dash
cam
video, which
is
God. Now the subject
man.
of several law enforcement investigations. It shows the moment a red semi-truck plowed into a number of vehicles on the westbound
Good golly.
10 freeway in Ontario just after 1 p.m. yesterday.
Oh. 3 dead. Imagine the people in that first vehicle. That truck just really skated out with their lives. Just missed being sandwiched between all those. My God. Oh, there it is. There it is. That was gonna be my next question. What's his name? His name, like clockwork, is Jashanpreet Singh. He's a Singh. They're always Singhs. Every freaking time. When is this gonna stop? Rosie O'Donnell promotes a mass blackout protest where deranged liberals plan to skip work for a week in an attempt to crash Trump's economy. Bring it on. Go right ahead. I doubt it's gonna work. Sorry. Gonna piss people off. So what is this? We're not asking. We're shutting it down. Mass blackout November 25th through December 2nd. The largest economic blackout protest in U.S. history begins November 25th. These have never worked. No work, no spending, no restaurants, no projects, no events, no restaurants, no backing out. Prepare for the impact. Speaker Johnson playing this clip on loop outside his office. Nice. With Minority Whip Clark being a C-word. Treasury Secretary Bessent slapped massive sanctions on Russian oil companies and demands an immediate ceasefire. Says more is on the way if Putin refuses. Starting to work up the pressure on Russia. Bring an end to the war. Major legal immigrant roundup set to take place in the San Fran Bay Area as soon as tomorrow. This should be fun. It should be a fun day tomorrow. Okay, only just a little handful left here. Mark Cuban will skip. He's dumb. U.S. government shutdown now projected to last until November 15th. Man, my guess is November 3rd. But I don't know, man. At this rate, it could absolutely go well past that. So now November 15th is overtaken as the favored. Yeah, look at that. November 16th plus. Sitting at 39% on Polymarket. Okay. Marco Rubio, Treasury Secretary, sanctions major Russian oil companies, calls on Moscow to immediately agree to ceasefire. Did you know there's been Democrat filibustering for 19 hours in the Senate? Oh, yeah.
Because the minority share of the electorate is growing, these changes favor the Democrats, which minority turnout rates were unusually high. Every now and then, we see the parties flip on a significant issue.
Oh boy. Just right after the court allowed Trump to deploy troops outside Portland, cleanup crews moved in. Oh no, that's a regular thing. They clean them up and then they put them back. This is not anything related to Trump deploying troops. Oh yeah, there you go. There's people talking about it. Yeah, it's already there. It's already back up. You can go see it. I'm sure any of the people live streaming. This is something that happens on basically like a weekly basis out there. They will send in a cleanup crew like this, and then that very night, all of it will pop right back up, like it was never removed to begin with. Yeah, I wish it was because Trump was coming in with troops, but it's not. Just how things work out there. All right, I think that's it for me. Let's see, what's this with Miller? We'll do this real quick. Oh yeah, we saw that. Let me check in Zoom here. Yes, Laura's in. We're actually 5 minutes past here. How you doing?
I'm here. I'm good. How are you?
Doing quite all right.
Good. Did you
Yes,
say they
indeed.
got their talking points this morning? Like everybody was posting pictures about the White House.
Yeah.
He's
Crazy.
destroying history. We told you he was an oligarch. Like I was like, my Twitter has been, crazy lately where they keep pushing stuff to me I don't follow. And like I got Gavin Newsom, Elizabeth Warren on my For You page, all with pictures of the White House being. Look at what he's doing. Like, oh, good grief. It is what it is. It's so
Tiresome.
easy to see now once you've been covering it for so long. Like when 5 Democrats post the same thing on their social media, they got the memo.
Yeah.
It is what it is, though. What do we do?
No.
Try to combat it.
Yeah. Well, suppose I will duck out of here and let you get to it. I gotta pop my share off too. Hold on. There we go.
There you go. All right, man.
Cool. Yeah, have a good show. See you guys. Bye. That's it for me. I don't have anything else, YouTube, so enjoy the rest of your night. Please do support us. Go to the donor box. I think DLive is not going to pay us for quite some time at this rate. I mean, I'll check on it again, but let's see. Get paid. Yeah, it's still stuck on pending. Unfreaking believable. And we got bills coming due in one in the next couple days and more in the following week. So you'd certainly use the assistance. Drop the donor box link out there before I get out here. Many thanks to Steph. I think Steph's still out there, but it's best able to do the shows without her. There we go. There's the donor box. Cool. All right. See you guys tomorrow evening. Bye-bye.